Hey, what's up? It's Steven from Brewtus Roasting. Hey, I just thought I got a little bit of roasting to do today, and I thought maybe I'd just bring you guys through to see what goes on roasting day, kind of like a vloggy style roast. And I thought you might find that interesting. So let's kind of get to it. So the first thing we got to do is get the roaster up and running. So I stepped over here just for a moment. The first thing the roaster is going to do is run the fan on high, and it kind of cleans that roasting chamber and make sure there's no residual gas hanging around in there in case there was a leak or something. And then it'll try to light the igniter. So right now the roaster is kind of getting ready to start. I use a tool called Roastery Tools, and basically what it is a workflow software just to help me know how much coffee I need to roast for a given order. And when I have a bunch of orders, it compiles all those orders together and will tell me how much I need to roast, how many bags I need, and how many labels I need for each bag. Next thing I do is weigh my carryover for the coffees that I need from the last time I roasted, which is usually very little, but I just like to make sure. Okay, so the system planned out my roast for me. This is a pretty small order from a private label customer down in New Jersey, so you won't be able to see everything. So I just have 2 batches to do today, so I'll walk you through those. The coffees for this particular client are mostly a dark roast and an espresso blend, so these coffees are going to be a little bit darker. And right now the roaster is warming up. It kind of goes through this cycle on this line and this line here, where it kind of goes up to the initial line, and then it's going to cycle back down and then cycle back up. And it does that 3 times, and that is an initial warm-up cycle. Next thing I gotta do is to weigh out my 2 batches of coffee. And there's just our 2 buckets of coffee. Like I said, this is a pretty small roast day today. This client just forgot to order earlier in the week, so I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that for him. So the roaster is going through one of its cycles right now where it increases the fan speed. And it's gonna cool itself back down, then it will start warming up again. Okay, so here in my software, I'm not sure if you can see this, it tells me how many bags of each I need to label and how many of each type of bag that I need. So we're gonna do that right now. This is our label drawer. This is where we keep all of our labels that we apply to the bags. All right, now we're just gonna apply some labels. And again, the system tells me how many of each I need. Kind of a little spot right here where we apply the labels, and that kind of keeps us consistent on the height on the labels. Being a lefty, I do things kind of weird. Of course, I keep them a little bit on the side, or I turn them sideways. I don't know, it's just how I do it. Then after you're done with this and you're done with your roasting, the system also tells you how many of each you need to bag. All right, now you can see on all these that they are all showing as green. That means that they're done. That particular task is finished. Now, if we come up here, we hit roast. The system tells us our 2 roasts that we need to do, and we're ready to go. We're just still waiting on the roaster to finish warming up. Okay, now we're just gonna go over to the lab, get that ready to go so we can QC all of our coffees once that's ready. We gotta get out our light meters. We use that for our color tracking. That's how we know all of our coffees are passing QC. There's our tray. Here's our light meter right here. It's a little ruler. We use that to smooth out the coffee as we're getting ready to grade. We'll put the case away for now. Okay, here you can see the roaster is almost finished warming up. It's gone through 3 cycles. So I am going to lift the coffee and get it ready to go into the roaster. And we're gonna run these on autopilot today. So what I'm gonna do is go up in here. I'm gonna find my 22-pound espresso roast. I'm gonna click yes. This thing's gonna load up. I'm gonna click OK. I'll leave that like it is. I'm gonna change this a little bit. And we're gonna hit start roast. What that's gonna do, actually I'm just gonna go over here so you can hear me a little better. What that's gonna do is once the roaster gets up to its proper temperature, it's gonna go ahead and drop that coffee right in there. See right here, it shows auto charge. So what's gonna happen is when the roaster gets to its proper temperature, it's just gonna drop that coffee right in there automatically. All right here it shows my 2 batches. This Columbia Espresso is about to go in there. So I'm gonna click done. All right, you see how it goes green and it puts my initials down there. That way if I'm ever going back and checking, I know who ran what batches. All right, the coffee's gonna be dropping any moment now into the roaster. We got our programmed crop stir ready. There it goes. Coffee's in there. It's in the roaster now. And for today's roasting, I'm just gonna let the roaster do its thing. It's gonna run fully on autopilot. All right, here you go. You can hear the roaster kind of kicking up. It's turning the gas up higher. We're recording everything on Cropster, which is our roasting software. I kind of use both hand in hand with each other. So what's gonna happen here is the PID controller inside the roaster is constantly monitoring the bean temperature, and it's going to adjust the gas as it goes along to keep it traveling along this line right here. And when it gets to its final temperature, it's automatically going to drop the beans out. All right, we are about 4.5 minutes in. The coffee is not quite turning color yet. It's still pretty green. And here you can see the roaster is tracking right along very nicely. Right here you can see, maybe you can see it, I'm not sure. We're within about a degree of what the profile is for this particular roast, so we're tracking along nice. Okay, the coffee just passed first crack, so it's gonna be finishing up in about 2 minutes, I think, so we're almost there. See the light here is flashing, that's telling us we are within about a minute of the end of the roast. All right, this thing is about 4 degrees from finishing its roast. It is almost there. Right now, it's raising its temperature up about 3 degrees per minute. So we're very close here to being finished. What you're gonna hear is this thing's gonna start beeping. There we go, it's an alarm. All right, here it goes. It's getting ready to drop out right now. The fan inside the cooling tray just kicked on, and it's gonna drop out exactly at 213 degrees Celsius, 212.9, 213, there it goes, right on the money. And over here, I just come back to the roaster. I'm gonna click done, and that particular batch is finished. Now what I'm gonna do is let the roaster cycle. It's gonna cool this batch of coffee down. In a few minutes, this door is gonna close up after it cools back down. There it goes right now, it's closing back up, and it's gonna start its warming up cycle once again. I'll lift up the next batch of coffee, and in the meantime, I'll get this coffee out of the tray, down in a bucket, and over to the lab so I can color grade it and QC it. All right, now we're going to print up a tag for this. Each roast gets an individual batch tag. I'll show you what that looks like. Here it comes out of a little printer. And so every roast gets a little tag like this. Tells me what the green coffee is, what the roast was, its in weight, what the expected out rate is, and it has a unique identifier on it over here. All right, we're just gonna take a little sample out of here. We're gonna put this little ticket on here. We're gonna take this coffee over to the lab. All right, we got our sample here. Put this up in the grinder. The first thing we got to do is purge what was in there yesterday, and it just gets those coffee oils out of there. And then I put the coffee in there I'm going to sample with. All right, now I just pour this in the tray here. I'll start smoothing this out. You need to have a nice flat bed when you're going to grade this, because any of those little hollows or empty spots will show up as a darker area than what we're looking for. You smooth it off, it goes into the bigger tray, then you take this out. This is the sample tray here. We're gonna take the scale, we're gonna set it on the coffee. We're gonna turn it, then we're gonna rotate it. Scale it, rotate it again, and we take the average of the 3, and then I'm going to write that number down, and then we will record that in our software. And if it matches up within 3 points of what our profile says, then we're good to go on that particular coffee. All right, let's get our next coffee loaded up to continue our roasting. Put the hose down on the bucket, start the elevator to get the green lifted up. Now we're going to go in here, select our roast. This time we're doing a 24-pound batch of dark roast. Now I'm just going to hit start roast. All right, there it goes, it's starting. It's starting to roast here. Coffee's down in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this coffee that we already roasted. We're going to add the coffee up into the bagger hopper. And turn on our bagger. Put the foot pedal on the floor. All right, it's all set up for 12-ounce bags. We're going to tear out the machine just to make sure everything's good to go. What it's going to do, it's going to weigh out the proper amount of coffee, and it's automatically going to stop. And there you go, 3/4 of a pound. It's within, looks like 5/1000ths of a pound, so I'd say that's pretty accurate. Or 5/100ths of a pound, I'm sorry. Press the button, take it, and it goes. I'm going to seal up these 12-ounce bags. I just take them, put them in here, and they're going to go down the conveyor belts, and the machine is going to seal them. Get our date stamper out. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to date the bag. Oh, went flying. There it is. I don't know if you can see that. We put a roasted on date on every bag. Let's go ahead and date these other guys. Take these 12-ounce bags we just filled up, we put them up on the shelf so we can pick from them later when we go to fill our order up. And now we're going to do our 5-pound bags. The nice thing is while it's working, this is automatically going to stop and drop out. And we're done roasting. I'm going to click done. Once the roaster cools off a little bit and this door closes, like right now, on the screen will be the warm up and cool down buttons. Since I'm done roasting, all I'm going to do is hit cool down, and the roaster is automatically going to start cooling itself down. This door is going to pop back open, there it is, and it's going to turn the fan up to high, and it's just going to start cooling itself down. When I'm filling these 5-pound bags, I like to just roll down the tops of them, and then put a piece of tape down, just to make them look a little tidy when I send them out. I always feel like it makes them look a little bit better. All right, now we just got to color grade this last batch. We got our little ticket here. All right, everything's all bagged up. Let's mark those off. We got one of those, one. All right, all good to go on that. And we have one retail mail order today, which I roasted today along with the other stuff. So that's good to go. Any little labeled boxes here. Check that out. Nice. Pop that bad boy down there. Sorry for the movement. We're gonna put our little information card in there, and we're gonna put a little thank you card down in there. I'm just gonna slap a label on top of that. Set that aside, and we gotta prep a bigger box for all this wholesale coffee. All right, over here, this is our little shipping station. I come over here and grab a big box because this is a 46-pound order from this particular wholesaler. Each one of these boxes will hold about 50 pounds of coffee, so it's worthwhile to ship it smaller. All right, let's start throwing these in here. All right, there's all the coffee down in there, and I put the invoice in the box, and now we're just gonna seal up the box. And we have the 2 orders to get together, so I'm gonna get the hand truck. You can put them on there, and then we bring them up front for UPS to pick them up tomorrow. And you can walk with me. Here we go. I'm gonna go up front.
Looks like a full house today in the cafe.